Oh, sorry, I'm just practicing with the pinky for the new hospitality I'll be sitting in St. James's Park in the future with some sushi and maybe finish with some espresso martinis at half-time. That's right, Newcastle fans. There's been a survey released asking all sorts of questions, from ticket prices to stadium moves to sushi to pies, peas and mash to cocktails to lounging seats to being next to the tunnel. You name it, we are getting asked. I couldn't let the week pass in a week where we've got fixtures left, right and centre without talking about a few of these finer points, because we all expected this. I'm just not sure I expected it this soon. If you're curious, Newcastle fans, you know what to do by now. Make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you lovely Newcastle fans. I hope all is well. Of course it is. Newcastle United are absolutely class. Going toe-to-toe with PSG, destroying Chelsea, making Man United look like an amateur football club from a Sunday League pub. It's all well and good. We've got another busy week coming. Everton on Thursday. Can we stick another one on the toffees like we did last season? Tottenham away on Sunday. A difficult game, but a one I fancy us in. And the games don't stop there in December. But Newcastle fans, before we get into the big topics of this video, I'm going to mention two things. First, give us a little likey. Lou, I can do a better robot than that. It's because I'm sat down. I can actually dance, I promise. And whack that subscribe button if you like this video by the end of it. Now, some of you may have noticed I've stuck my rod out and I've tested the water on posting some of my more jokey content on YouTube that I put on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and so far so good. The YouTube police have not got me in handcuffs. I am a free man as I'm making this video. I'm not doing it from a prison cell. So the very first episode of Dealing with Eddie Howe's Mags, the Man United edition, which is actually episode 9 on my other socials, is now on YouTube. Check that out. There was no issues. I thought there might be. Maybe further down the line, but it's gone down a storm. So you will be seeing more jokey content. And if you like it, let me know. I've also posted an Anthony Gordon video where we look at some of the things that Everton fans said when he left. That's just gone as well. But it's amazing for us to be able to post them kind of videos on YouTube to give any of you subscribers, the very few of you that there is, a little bit of a variation, because that Dealing with Eddie House Mag series has got very, very popular on social media, to say the least. I'm even tempted to get some t-shirts, like my Black and White Banter merchandise. So that's good. The last thing I'm going to say before we dive into this, I am blocked up as hell. I have been since I got back from Paris. I think it's a viral infection because I'm also really chesty. So no matter how many times I blow my nose, I sound ridiculous, so I'm just going to apologise for it. If I sniffle on this video, I'm not going to apologise, because let's face it, we've all been there, we've all had a runny nose. I'd rather it now than before Santa Claus comes down the chimney, if I've been a good boy. So, let's just dive into what is looking a very different Newcastle United moving forward. So, for anyone watching this video, maybe overseas, maybe who's not a member, season ticket holder, who maybe doesn't know what I was talking about at the very start of this, a fan survey has been sent out en masse. I don't think it was to select people, as far as I understand, asking a hell of a lot of questions. When I say a hell of a lot of questions, it was a good 15-20 minute stint to really put some focus and concentration in. They went in hard on this survey and gave it some really real length. Lots of questions, lots of different answers. So what it basically consists of is a number of questions on changes to the current stadium experience with regards to food, entertainment, drinks, how early you go in the stadium, how open you would be to staying in after, and then it moves into different hospitality seating that could be available at St James's Park in part of a renovation. Then it moves on to the blunt question of, would you be open to a new stadium being built altogether? Now, before I dive into the different segments and run through each one, what I'm going to say is my very, very first thoughts on this is, firstly, we cried out for communication under Mike Ashley. We never got it. It was tragic. He did not care about our opinions. Whatever he did as a businessman, I'm not going to call him a club owner. He was that on paper and that on paper alone. as a businessman, he did not give two shites what we thought, as long as his business was making money for him, the owner of the business. So we never got that under Ashley from anyone, from chairman, from chief executives, you name it. So firstly, I am grateful that everything that's being thought about with these surveys is being put to us. And we can't be hypocritical even if we don't like some of the questions and suggest otherwise. We've always wanted a communication from the club, the top hierarchy of the club down to the fans, and we are starting to get it. I like that. And we are getting a feel for what might be in the pipeline. The other side to this that I'm not so fond of is some of the speed at which these questions are being asked. Firstly, I think I've said on previous videos, I'm being left very, very uncomfortable by all of the changes we always expected from the Saudi ownership and the amount of money that we have. We are trying to grow as a brand, we are trying to grow as a team, we are trying to become successful on and off the pitch. I get that, this was needed in some areas, but some of the changes with regards to mass hospitality, mass corporate, branching out into different levels of hospitality, I just feel like the club, after what we've been through for so many years, let's just take a breath. And whether the Champions League qualification and the success on the pitch that was faster than anyone expected has meant that this is all happening sooner, I'm not sure. But it's all just changing very, very quickly. And the last point I'm going to make, and this is just an opinion, so you can disagree with me in the comments if you want. I feel like because this survey is so preempted and so detailed, that to some degree, some of these changes will happen regardless of whether every single person answering said, do not like that, do not disagree with that, disagree. I just don't see a world where even en masse, if we say that we do not want the stadium, because one of the questions was, do you think the stadium needs renovating? Are you seriously telling me that Amanda, Mehrdad, Jamie, Mr. Yasmir Al-Rumiyan over in Saudi when he visits now and again, Mr. Silverstone, Mr. Eels, Mr. Ashworth, which I know he's not as involved on that side, are you really telling me that collectively they will leave the stadium as it is if we all say that it doesn't need renovating? I'm not so sure. And what worries me with more on that one, as the branch gets put out further, is how many of these changes will be happening regardless, and whether this is a very, very smart ploy to make us feel, as I just said, that we are in the loop and we are being asked. Because maybe numbers on these surveys will never be shared. So if the answers did not suit our ownership's preferred choice of new hospitality with lounge and seats and screens that would be $13,000 a season to bring us in more money, if we all said no, they might still go ahead and use the line that it was all based off survey information that was taken into consideration, they might say. That's what I'm worried about, and that's what my gut, and that's not me bad-mouthing our owners. By no means would I do that. That is me just assuming that Saudi ownership do not settle for average. They do not settle for St James's Park as it is right now. They want the biggest entertainment, the flashiest seats, the nicest Wi-Fi spots, the nicest USB ports, the nicest champagne, and the best experience for the sort of clientele they will be sending in. So that's my first point. So let's get into this a bit further, because I know people watching this video might not know some of the questions. So I'm going to put some on the screen. So firstly, one of the main questions was how often or how long you stay in the stadium or how early you get there. Now, for me, I'm a just before kick-off person, and that's what I answered. It then goes into asking if the experience was better, food selections, drink selections, entertainment, would I come sooner? Now, my answer personally to that is no. But as it then moves into questions on food, I mean, the list of options, Jesus. And we've been to some of these stadiums. If you've been to West Ham, the Olympic Stadium, Tottenham Hotspurs I've still never been to, but the Emirates, that was very similar. You do have a lot of food options. A lot of food options outside the Olympic Stadium as well. Chinese, I mean, on this list there's Chinese, Indian, pie and mash, pies and pastries, which are obviously already there. There's vegan, there's gourmet, there's you name it. So I do not have any problem, why would I, with Newcastle branching out on their food and drink selections. I think that's a great that would make the match day experience better. If I'm going down for a pint at half time on my little video to talk about the match, something half pint of Madry, but I suddenly have 6 beer options, maybe a cocktail, maybe a spirit, which was one of the questions, what drinks you'd like to see more. I said a spirit. If it's a nervy game and I want a vodka Coke or a vodka Red Bull, I like to have that option on the normal concourses without being in hospitality. So I see no reason why any Newcastle fan to those questions would say, more food options. Nah, just give us really shit chicken nuggets and chips with curry sauce for £7 and some pies. That one's a no-brainer to me. And my experience in the Strawberry Corner, going down for a pint, if they've got lots of options and I can maybe get some chicken chow mein and some prawn crackers, I'm all for it. So that's a no-brainer, and I think the sooner that happens, the better. There was questions about the toilets. Newcastle's toilets are a disgrace, in my opinion. I mean, I don't really care. I'm going in to pee on a wall, wash my hands and leave. But generally speaking, for a stadium of our size and our team of our size, the toilet facilities should be better. So there's lots of little run-of-the-mill questions there that aren't so interesting that I think are no-brainers. So let's now get into this hospitality. So they are sharing a suggestion for something called a loge box or a loge. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that correctly because I'm not of the corporate world. I can try. I was going to drink the microphone there, Jesus. Pinky's up, you know, with me Sprite, classy as ever. But no, I'm not from that world. I go into hospitality now and again. So this loge box comes with reclining seats, a screen in front of you whilst you're watching the game, unlimited drinks, unlimited food. There's then the tunnel experience, which Man City currently have, where you can actually be stood on a glass screen watching the players line up to come out. Look, a lot of this makes me uncomfortable. And the reason it makes me uncomfortable, which is what I would want more answers on as a fan, is whether some of these experiences involve sucking seats out that our working class fans pay their hard-earned money for, that have sat in for years, to replace some hospitality. It's already happened so far in the season with the Wings suite that's now in the Leazers stand. Hospitality, full hospitality. The Wings section where you get food and a nice view from behind the goal. People had to move because of that. If these experiences are stripping away fans who've got no right to lose their seat, then I'm not about it. We know these expensive seats are going to generate more revenue. We know to a degree it was always going to happen. Man City currently have that tunnel experience priced at $13,000 on their website. Our price will be somewhere similar. None of us working class fans can afford anywhere near that. And I think what makes us unique as a club is, probably makes me sound like I'm talking through my biased glasses, we have to be so careful that we don't strip away the heart and the soul of what makes Newcastle United Newcastle, a one-club city, a working class city, a fan base that, in my opinion, is like no other. They live, they breathe, they die for their football club. They work shitty shifts till 12 hours, 6 in the morning till 6 at night, all week, just to go to the match, have a couple of pints with their mates and watch their team, hopefully, smash it on the pitch. We're doing that now on the pitch, but what I'm really worried about is that corporate is going to become too much of an obsessive focus for this Saudi ownership. And that can't happen. And I really, really hope Amanda and Mairdad stick to their word of listening to the fans always, because without us, I'm sorry to say, that football club is knout. And Amanda said it, Mairdad said it, they said they love it, they adopted Geordies, whatever. Do not start chucking in hospitality here, there and everywhere and strip out the fans who then can no longer afford it. Now, the other side to that, there's going to be people watching this, but Matthew, you want to see your team be more successful on the pitch and grow, and now you're whinging that hospitality's being mentioned. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is there has to be a balance, and if the general consensus is that it's a no-no and more fans are going to start to get upset, there has to be other ways to generate more revenue. There has to be, whether it's branching into other countries, whether it's a bigger push on merchandise, whether it's a slight increase in ticket sales. Look, I don't like to put those ones out because tickets are expensive as they are, but I know, and you know watching this video, that if a match for a Premier League game was to go up £10 more, people would probably pay it. I would pay it. God, Those Champions League tickets that got added on my season ticket, I would have paid anything for them. They were 55 quid. I would have paid 75. I would have grumbled about it, but I would have paid it. So there has to be other avenues. And if this tunnel experience does not affect anything I've just mentioned, and it can be included in the existing corporate area, go for it. There will be Newcastle fans out there who can afford, maybe as one-offs, certainly not as season tickets, generally speaking, who can afford to really... And that would be, imagine being stood next to glass, tapping on the wall, telling themselves his hair looks nice for the game. Giving them I think the players can't actually see you from the other side, because that probably would be a bit weird. But yeah, that would be an experience, a once in a lifetime. I'm not denying that. But all of these photos scare me, they do. The fact that they're already giving you examples of what they are looking at. It's not just we are thinking about a tunnel experience, it's... Here's a photo of what it'll look like. And that's why I think things are a bit preempted. Now, the last part of this, they quickly move into, and this is the biggest talking point. Should St James's, would you be open to a stadium move? For me, no. Eddie Howe said it in his press conference when he was asked, just totally off the cuff, I think he was caught off guard. No. We have to look at every opportunity possible, and I'm sure so many people in that survey will answer the same in extending St James's Park. Yes, there are fans who cannot get tickets. I know them. I've done a video with them. These ballots. That's something that the club needs to look at. That's a different video. We've talked about that in the past. There are so many fans who want to see a bigger stadium to give them a chance to get inside. But the grass, Newcastle fans, is not always greener if you fall in that club. We are so unique in the fact that our stadium is right bang in the heart of our city. Just take that away, the centrepiece, the focal point, everything that we love, to be able to go for a pint of strawberry and be in the stadium 10 minutes later, to have that in Gosforth, or I don't know what sites they're looking at. Probably the Gosforth area just springs to mind because of the town moor. To have it out there and travel out like you do for every other stadium in the Premier League, no, not a chance on this earth. That's not why we wanted new ownership. That doesn't define success, in my opinion. We are talking about very rich owners, and I'm not saying, oh, well, you've got enough money, just chuck it in. Of course, for FFP, for so many reasons, we need to keep the wheel turning and growing and growing and growing, so that wheel gets bigger as it turns. But moving stadium is not the answer, and the owners should have known coming in that would never be. And I honestly believe that Mairdad, Amanda and all the crew know the answer to that question. The only people, in my opinion, and if you want to get down my throat in the comments and say that that's all right for you to say because you've got a season ticket, then do it. Because the last thing I ever try and do is give just a biased opinion. The real Newcastle fans would not want to move from St James's Park. I don't care. And one of the questions was, should we expand? Is that what you'd be open to? Yes, a million ways to Sunday. Whether you've got to pay off the council, whether you've got to pay some architect whatever X amount of money to revolutionise a way of building onto St James's Park. I mean, it's a lopsided stadium. There has to be a way. But that's my thoughts on that. That was the final question. It was a very long survey, and as I'm going to keep repeatedly saying, all of this stuff makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Because what I worry about is in 5 years' time, the atmosphere, the vibes, the soul of the football club that runs from the bloody light on the top over the Newcastle sign all the way through to the blades of grass might be just a little bit more sucked out whilst the club continues to put a focus on getting corporate bodies in and people from overseas who can afford a £13,000 season ticket. Don't forget about the people who are the heartbeat of this club, and I didn't expect any of this soon, and in 5 years' time, who knows where we'll be. I think some of them changes on that survey will already be happening, but we'll watch this space. Everything's great on the pitch. Let's see where things go off it. So Newcastle fans, this is a really interesting one. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Did you see the survey? Did you fill it in? Are you totally against my opinion for staying at St James's Park? Do you want to see a brand spanking new shiny stadium? And if you disagree on the food stalls and the renovation of the stadium, then let me know. I'll be surprised if anyone does. It's fascinating. It is. And that's why the comments on this one, I'd be very, very interested to read them. So let me know down below. Newcastle fans, if you've stuck around this long, good luck. But whack us that like, give us a little subscribe. There will be an Everton match vlog, match preview, you name it. Lots of matches coming this week, as they always are. And make sure you check out the other content and get me across all socials. I'm going to go and give the dog her tea, get some tea on myself. And Newcastle fans, I might even start practicing my how to eat sushi with some chopsticks and maybe get a bit of a taste for the old champagne. Because it might be what we have to expect in 5 years. How are you, lads?